All right, so here we are now. We are at number 37. It says write the following ratio using two other notations. Okay, so guys, this is basically just vocabulary. If they're talking about notations, there are other ways to write the same thing. So 8 over 9 could actually be written as 8 and then the colon 9, so two dots. And then the other way it could be written is 8, 2, 9, the word 2. And that's honestly that easy. So this is, for this question, it says write the following ratio using two other notations. That's it. So on the test, you're probably going to see one of these three. It might show the 829 and then ask you to write it the other two ways. Or it might start with the 8 colon 9 and have you write it the other two ways. So basically, just to kind of finish this off and put them in the right places, okay, I'll just do that first. Okay, it doesn't really matter. I could have done the colon and then do this next. All right, that's it. That's all you have to do for number 37 is just take this and write it these two ways. If you start off with the one with the colon, then you would do a fraction and the two. Anyway, that's it for that one, and we'll keep moving on. Okay, for each value of v, determine whether it's a solution to 12 is greater than or equal to 2v. All right, so perfect. So in this situation, we're just going to be putting something in for v. Okay, and what are we putting in? Well, in this chart over here, it's telling us what we're putting in. So v, we're going to put in 6 first. So if you put in 6 in v there, well, a 2 and a v right next to each other, or a 2 and a 6 right next to each other, basically means you're doing multiplication. So 2 times 6 is 12. So is 12 greater than or equal to 12? Well, 12 is equal to 12. So that one will work as a solution. So we're going to put yes for that one. What if we put in 3 for the v over here? 2 times 3 is 6. So then we're going to end up with 12 is greater than or equal to 6. So is 12 greater than 6? It's not equal to, but it says greater than or equal to. And yeah, that is true. The 12 is bigger than 6. So yes, 3 is a solution as well. Next, we're going to think about 9, putting the 9 in for v. 2 times 9 is 16. Or 9 times, sorry, 2 times 9 is 18. So we have 12 is greater than or equal to 18. Okay, so is 12 bigger than 18? It's not bigger than. Is 12 equal to 18? So the answer to this one would be no. And then the last one, we're going to look at the 4. Put the 4 in for v. 2 times 4 is 8, right? 2 times 4 is 8. So then we have 12 is greater than or equal to 8. So is 12 equal to 8? No. Is 12 bigger than 8? Yeah. So this one is yes. So 3 of them are correct. Okay, so all we're doing is taking the number here, putting it in for v, and seeing if it actually matches up or is a correct inequality. So 3 of the 4 is correct. The only one that is not correct is this one because 12 is not equal to 18 and it's not bigger than 18. All right, so 39. 3 gardeners trimmed bushes in a large courtyard. Excuse me. The table below shows the number of bushes each of them trimmed and how much time each gardener spent. Okay, so this is kind of cool because the number of minutes that the first gardener took was 20. So the next gardener took a whole half an hour, 30 minutes. And the third gardener didn't do it very long. It was only 9 minutes, okay, to trim the bushes. And the first gardener trimmed 5 of them in the 20 minutes. The second gardener trimmed 6 in the 30 minutes. And the third gardener trimmed 3 in just 9 minutes. So that's pretty interesting. So if you look at that information, that can kind of be helpful for what we're looking for below here. It says write the time it took per bush for each gardener. And then we're going to determine who trimmed bushes the fastest. Okay, so write the time it took per bush. All right, so at this point, we're going to find unit rates. All right, so at this point, we're looking at the unit rates that I just put in there. And to get the unit rate, I divided 5 into 5 to get 1, and I divided 5 into 20 to get 4. And then I divided 6 into 6 to get 1, and 6 into 30 to get 5. Okay, 6 times 5 is 30, yeah. And then we have, I divided 3 into 3 to get 1, and 9 divided by 3 is 3. Okay, so one bush took 4 minutes for this person, one bush took 5 minutes, and then this one, it only took 3 minutes for each bush to be trimmed. Okay, so that's what we have. So it says take or time taken per bush for the first gardener. It was 4 minutes. For the second gardener, it was 5 minutes. And for the third gardener, it was 3 minutes. So it says select the gardener who trimmed the bushes the fastest. Well, even though they only did 9 minutes, okay, if you look to see, if you just look at the time it takes to do the bushes, okay, the one with the least amount of time taken is the one who's going to be able to claim that they went the fastest. So the one that went the fastest is the person who only took 3 minutes to trim a bush. So in that situation, the answer would be the third gardener. So that's what you have for that one. Okay, so here we are at the last problem. It says consider the following expression. So there's a lot of things that we kind of have to remember. And again, it's just all vocabulary. All right, so it says select all the true statements. So what I want to just kind of talk about first is anytime that you have a number in front of a variable, right, connected like that, those are called coefficients. The number is called a coefficient, not the number and the letter together, just the number. So 2 would be a coefficient and 9 would be a coefficient. Okay, so 2v together would be called a term, 9u together would be called a term, and 1 would be called a term. But 1 would also be called a constant. Okay, so anytime you have a number by itself that does not have any variable with it would be a constant. All right, so there's a few things we're looking at. The 2 and the 9 are coefficients. Obviously, the v and the u are variables, and the 1 is called a constant. If that was any number, if that was a 14, that would be the constant. If it was 25, that would be the constant. Okay, each one of these in between the operation is called a term. So the 2b together is called a term, even though the 2 is considered a coefficient and the v is a variable, them together is a term because they're between the plus sign. Okay, same thing with a 9 is the coefficient, the u is the variable, but 9u together is a term. And then number 1 all by itself is a constant, okay, but that is also considered a term. Okay, so now having that information, let's go ahead and see if we can answer the rest of these questions. All right, so it says select all of the true statements below. All right, the first one, it says 2v plus 9u plus 1 is written as a sum of 3 terms. Okay, well remember, 2v is a term, 9u is a term, 1 is a term. So it does fit that there is 3 terms. Okay, and it is the sum, which means you are adding, right? So all of them are being added together, and you know a sum is when you add problems together. So this one is absolutely true. Okay, so that is correct for that one. Next, It says 2v is a coefficient. Okay, so I repeated multiple times earlier that 2v, in that situation, the 2 is the coefficient, the v is the variable, 2v together is a term. So 2v is a coefficient. That is incorrect. So we're not going to check that one. Just the 2 is the coefficient. Okay, so let's look at the next one. It says 1 is a constant. So here's the 1. There is no variable by it. It is all by itself. So 1 is a constant. All right, 2v and 1 are like terms. Okay, we did look earlier and we talked about this. As a matter of fact, none of these, 2v, 9u, or 1, none of them are like terms because none of them have the same variable behind it. Okay, so that is true that it is not like terms. Okay, and just to kind of show you something, like if we have 2ab plus, let's say 7a plus 4b. Just to kind of point this out so there's no confusion, okay? In a situation like this, you have a 2ab and then you have an a and you have a b, okay, but they can only be combined if they are identical like terms. Okay, so 2ab cannot be combined with either one of these, and a cannot be combined with either one of these either, okay, because they have to be the same. If it was 2ab plus 7ab plus 4ab, then you can combine them. Just very, very important thing to kind of notice. All right, the next one is 2v is a factor. 2v is a factor. So what is a factor? Well, a factor is when you are combining. In this situation, the 2v is not a factor. Okay, 2v are basically two numbers being multiplied together. Okay, so in that situation, they are they're not the factors. So basically, it's not a product of it. So 2v is not a factor. So I'm not going to check mark that one. And as far as trying to get to the details of why, it basically they are multiples of each other. So 2 times v is going to give you your answer, which is the product. All right, and then of course the last one, well, that's a good way to end it. None of these are true. Well, you're not going to check that one, okay, because of the fact that we already have 2 marked. So that is the answer to number 40. So hopefully this is extremely helpful. Make sure you watch these as many times as you need to, and have a great day.